This is Flow, a poem by WIZ 1965. Got Violet Beats, Planet LA, Active Music Works. Expectation causes suffering. Living life of mystery, separated. Confusion, illusions outside my eyes. Standing on your inside, no surprise. The mind becomes numb, mentality's dumb. Knowledge of self is the beginning of wisdom. Knowledge of self is the beginning of wisdom. Close your eyes, see a little clearer. Living off a perch never made you search. So more in life for a better kind of meaning than dreaming while living in a nightmare. I stare while counting eggs, hatch shoulda woulda becomes a deliberate mantra. Substantial consequences, thinking of possibilities like survival through false realities. Slanging the ills in palms of babies. Mentally ill public school training. Shit we already know, but meanwhile we just know. And so being a stranger to yourself, how can you knock off the remnants of slave help? What makes me so notorious? Do we even know what's all the fuss? Impose amnesia, rehearse the trust, like undeveloped Negroes in us. Danger, danger, makes hearts combust. Those who know sit back nonplussed. That planetary gods must realign to define time's rush. What up? What up, yo? This is the Tommy Call Show. You know, I contemplated not coming on today, but I'm off. I don't have to work no job for a minute. So I'm, come on here a little more. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, thank you for checking in. Oh my God, I needed to get some stuff on my chest. You know how I do. Anyways, let me start by saying this, okay? All rights reserved. Excuse me. This video is for educational and informational purposes based off the Copyright Act of 1976, Section 107, wherein it states you may reuse information for the purposes of educational and informational inferences. So that's what I'm doing. So yes, a lot of my students are not aware, or people, this generation, I just call young people my students. That's what I do. They ain't necessarily my student. They just younger people, and they learn from you at all times. So in essence, they are your students, right? Right. That's how you should be looking at your position with the youth at all times, as they're your students, or if you are their student even as well. I know that sounds cliche, but it is true. Okay. We all learn from each other, and we all should make sure we're all always in balance, in our behaviors, our actions. I can't say the same about the diet thing, but that's not even actually true. So if I eat chips and dip as I did last night, thank you very much. It was delicious. Okay. I had the kettle chips, the jalapeno kettle chips. They go hard with some sour cream and onion dip. It was dope. I loved it. I was watching First Wives Club with Jill Scott on Netflix. I love it. I'm so mad I'm at the last episode. I keep rewinding the last 10 minutes because I don't want it to go away. Anybody else watching that show? I heard there's been a request for a 4th season. Maybe if people, I don't know who you'd write to. I don't even know. Do we write to Jill Scott? Maybe I'll hit Jill Scott up. I'll hit her up on Instagram. Y'all can hit her up too. Just say, what's up, Jill Scott? We loved you on the show. Maybe she'll print out the comments or something. You know what I'm saying? I really enjoy. Oh, her character made me so mad. She played her so well. I was so annoyed with that character. But she played her really human, and People gon' people. That's what people gonna do sometimes. You know what I'm saying? That's why I say we supposed to make sure we all stay in balance, so we'll stay doing the right thing. Wow, how did that happen? Anyways, so yes, I've noticed. Okay, when I go to other people's podcasts, they are not shy about asking for some coin. Okay, so I, I'm just throwing it out there because it is the holiday season. No, I did not get those skates for Izzy yet. Nope. No, I did not get this video game for Bilal that he asked me for. No, 2K, I did not get this doggone lipstick. She keeps lip gloss. She keeps talking about. I haven't gotten it yet. So I'm doing a holiday entertainment in perchance of you enjoying yourself so much that you're willing to participate in getting some nice little one gift for each of my little ones. You know what? I actually did the post office thing. You know, when they say if you write to Santa Claus through the post office, they give you the gift is what they say. Well, I'm trying it. I'm trying it here. I'm trying to see, you know, if they'll really do it. I wrote in red to Santa. I said, "Dear Santa, I was unemployed quite a bit this year. You know what I'm saying? I did a lot of door dashing till I got sick, put me on bed rest. Then I started teaching. I teach science, I teach physics and chemistry. I'm very proud of myself because I'm not a chemist or a physics person. I'm a fucking English teacher. But the best thing this lady did was hire an English teacher to help science students learn how to communicate their information better. You feel me? And I love it. I really enjoy teaching it. I took those kind of classes in college, but I hadn't done that in a long time. You know what I mean? So I've had to reread. Matter of fact, during this Xmas break, I have to I have to study. You know what I'm saying? Teaching chemistry, bro. Yikes. I ran from that, you know what I'm saying, most of my life. I took statistics. I took anything but, you know, chemistries and them because I didn't know if I could do it. But I did. You know what I'm saying? I did it. Yeah. So it's just a refresher. You can't be saying you have a master's in education and you can't teach. That is just ridiculous. I could teach anything. I can teach anything. All right. So into the show. All right. So I'm doing this WIZ thing because as I started my vacation at 6 p.m. Friday evening, I've been watching podcasts and like I said, the First Wives Club. I've been binging that. Insecure. I'm rewatching the entire 4 or 5 seasons again from episode 1, season 1, all over again, bro. I'm sleeping. My son said, he opened the door, and apparently I was asleep with the TV on. I don't know. I don't. I don't know. I'm enjoying myself. I'm eating chips and dip. But I'm walking the dog like 3 or 4 times a day too, y'all. I'm not just sitting around snacking. I got so many boxes of cookies. I am just thank you, students, whoever ever maybe clicks on this channel. Thank you so much for all the lovely gifts. I got so many boxes of cookies and candy and cards. Not even candy, really gourmet cookies. I got so many gourmet cookies, and one gave me one of those Rice Krispie treats and a Hostess cupcake, and I mean just Belgian cookies and Korean chips, and I'm so thankful. So no, I have to pace this macaroons. My sons have been eating on that. Somebody gave me some sugar cube scrubs. I think that's for my skin. I'm just so thankful. And cards. I've never received this many gifts in my life. So this is incredible for me. I'm very thankful. I'm very honored to be where I'm at. I'm really happy to teach science. I'm really happy. Okay, so y'all didn't hit in for this, but I just felt like sharing that because I really was mad all morning. I was really pissed off this morning, so I wanted to balance that energy out and say some positive things. Okay. Um. Anyways, thank you for coming in to the Time Ago Show. So what are we talking about? Okay, the Wiz, y'all. The Wiz. Okay, so I'm old enough to have actually watched The Wiz in the movies, the theater when it first came out. Back then, mamas and thems used to just leave your ass at the movies and they going about their business. Back then, when I was like 6, so there was like a whole bunch of kids watching it. It was like the matinee, so it was in the mall. Like the movie theater was in a mall, and it'd be like 3. It was like a multiplex. So my mama went to go watch a grown up movie down the hall, and she dropped me off down to see the Wiz. Okay, so I I felt nostalgic about the Wiz. You know, you watch the Wiz around Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, 4th of July. You know what I'm saying? You watch the Wiz at these special times in life. So I was talking about the Wiz in class, and almost none of my students had ever heard of the Wiz, yo. So I was like getting like bugged out, like, what? You never heard of the Wiz? Well, I didn't burn any time actually showing clips, but I do play this Jay Dilla track called Every Time, in which he uses a sample from a part of the Wiz. Now, if you can figure out where he found it, as I did, you are a true Wiz G. Okay, because he got this sample from this real specific in part of the Wiz. When the Lena Horne comes out with the little baby angels, go on and check the sounds in that space and then go listen to Jay Dilla Every Time. Okay, it's one of my favorites. I wonder if I can play it on here. Okay, so I'm not getting monetized for this episode. That's another reason I really be hitting y'all up. Like, please, would you mind, if you are entertained, please, would you mind please donating to the Cash App, because I'm not getting paid for this. So first of all, tell me if y'all want to hear the track I'm talking about from Jay Dilla. If you want me to hit the track that I'm talking about so you can hear it, let me know in the comments. Say something. Say yes, play it, or say no because of copyright. But I'm not getting paid anyway. I'm about to be playing stuff from the Wiz. You feel me? So that's what I'm saying. I really appreciate it. So that's that. All right. So who's ready to get into it? Wait, first I want to know if y'all want to hear it. Let me know. Click something, y'all. Click something in the comments. What up, Pac-Man? Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. Don't be shy. Click on it, and then we get into it. Let me see. How about I get into it and then y'all let me know? And I'll just look out for that. All right. I am not coming on camera today because I am not camera ready and I do not want to embarrass myself. Yes. So, what I am about to play is hold on, let me click it on here. 10 things you may or may not have known about the Wiz. And I'm also going to be, pausing it here and there to share some info about it too. So check this out. I don't know. Y'all let me know if you knew this information. So here's their disclaimer. The information featured in this presentation was gathered through online research via articles, interviews, clips, and other informative sources. Although this video may contain topics that kids find interesting, this video is not made for kids. And this is Minty Comedic Arts. So make sure you go over and check them out. I thought, hey, why reinvent the wheel? Let's check this out. And I'll be pausing it. Check this out.
It's time to re-enter the world of Oz as you've never seen it before. An exciting...
Hold up. Please click like, y'all. Please make sure, even if you click out, just click like. That's free, right? Thank you so much. OMG.
new version where Oz looks like a surreal fever dream version of New York City, complete with excitement and spectacle. Released in 1978, The Wiz is a retelling of the classic Wizard of Oz, where Dorothy is now a young school teacher living with her aunt and uncle and dog Toto in 1970s New York. And after Dorothy and Toto get caught up in a snowstorm, they find themselves in the mysterious world of Oz, which is like an imaginative parallel universe version of New York, where in order to get home, Dorothy must travel to the Emerald City and seek help from the mystical and powerful WIZ. And along the way, she meets the Scarecrow who wants a brain, the Tin Man who wants a heart, and the Lion who wants courage, where they join her to meet the WIZ to fulfill their wishes. So just to recap, Dorothy wants to go home, the Scarecrow wants a brain, Tin Man wants a heart, the Lion wants some courage, and Toto wants to hold the line because love isn't always on time. Along her travels, Dorothy must also destroy the Wicked Witch of the West, aka Evelyn, in this underrated theatrical version of the classic story, which stars Diana Ross as Dorothy, Michael Jackson as the Scarecrow, and Richard Pryor as the Wiz. And not to mention, of course, it also features the Silver Shoes. Finally, an Oz adaptation that uses the Silver Shoes, Dorothy's magical footwear as they appeared in the book. Well, it's time to ease on down the road as we look into 10 things that you didn't know about the Wiz. So don't carry nothing that might be a load as we check it out.
All right, Smith. All right, Smith.
Number 10, it started as a stage show musical.
How many of y'all?
The World of the Wiz started 4 years before the movie's release in 1974 with the onstage musical The Wiz, although technically called The Wiz, the Super Soul musical Wonderful Wizard of Oz. The show was the brainchild of producer Ken Harper, who wanted to do a modern retelling of the classic Frank Baum book and give it a contemporary setting, modern.
Well, he doesn't mention the fact that that's Stephanie Mills. So that's what put Stephanie Mills on the map doing the Wiz. She started when she was, what up, Roblox head? What up? What up? How you doing today? How you doing? So that's Stephanie Mills. She was doing this from like age 16 to age 20.
Songs and all African American cast. Originally, Harper envisioned The Wiz to be a TV special for NBC TV, but his plans for an Oz TV extravaganza went nowhere, so he then set his sights on the stage. However, just as the show was born, it could have ended, as before The Wiz went to Broadway, The Wiz had a tryout showing to try and get an idea of people's reactions, and it got mixed reviews. And Harper even thought about closing the show, but thankfully he didn't. A TV commercial for The Wiz was put together, featuring the song Ease On Down the Road, which was actually very popular at the time. And the commercial is considered to be what kicked off the stage show, which became very successful and would go on to win 7 Tony Awards, as well as an album being released in 1975, with the show's musical songs sung by the original stage cast. So with the stage show of this new version of Oz being such a hit, it would seem that a movie version was inevitable. Number 9, Diana Ross had to fight for the role of Dorothy. Motown Productions bought the rights to The Wiz and joined forces with Universal Pictures to produce a theatrical movie version of The Wiz stage show. It was actually the 8th movie that Motown had produced, which included movies like Scott Joplin and Thank God It's Friday. Motown's founder, Berry Gordy Jr., originally wanted Stephanie Mills to play Dorothy, as she had played Dorothy in the Wiz stage show, where she was embraced for her performance in the role, so it seemed like a given to go with the 20-year-old singer and performer.
All right, so I remember this like yesterday. The big deal at the time was they felt that her nose was too big and that she was too black to do a mainstream film, is what the rumor was, allegedly. Made the poor girl have so many complexes after that. And I grew up remembering this Stephanie Mills. I was a kid, but she looked like a kid, and I think she's like 4'11". So I distinctly remember this in my childhood, you know what I mean? So then when the movie came out, If Diana Ross was really listening to the community, she should have had Dorothy played by Stephanie Mills. Although I did like her as Dorothy, at the time people were so narrow-minded. You know what I mean? Plus, Diana's character was not a teenager or child. She was a teacher. Remember, she was a young woman teacher that was sad about her life. But back then, people just thought it was very drab. Plus, everybody was used to seeing Diana Ross glamorous and stuff. So, a lot of times, they just couldn't imagine. I mean, Stephanie is the one who made it. That was like her role, period. So, a lot of people at that time were couldn't visualize anybody else but Stephanie Mills playing the part.
However, when the Supremes megastar Diana Ross found out about the Wiz, she really wanted the role of Dorothy and asked Gordy if she could be cast in the iconic role, where he said no, feeling that Ross, being 33 at the time, was just too old to play Dorothy. Ross then turned to Universal Pictures and set up a deal with them to have future Fast and Furious producer Rob Cohen to produce The Wiz on the condition that Ross was to star as Dorothy, to which Gordy finally agreed to this. And Ross's dream had come true, as she was now the theatrical Dorothy of the 70s. Number 8. The Wiz movie was written by Joel Schumacher. Originally, Saturday Night Fever and Short Circuit director John Badham was going to direct The Wiz, but after Diana Ross was cast, he dropped out of the project. Badham claimed that he liked Ross and had no problems with her, but just felt that she wasn't the right age to be playing Dorothy, so it was a no from him. So director Sidney Lumet came on board as director. Lumet has directed many movies during his life, including 12 Angry Men, The Hill, and Child's Play.
Not that child.
Nope, not that Child's Play, this one.
But look, Sidney Lumet, who directed it, that's Lena Horne's husband. That explains why she's playing the godmother. You remember? You play around someday, you know. Remember her? Yeah, that's his wife, Lena Horne, the legend. Go figure. Anyways.
The script was provided by Bat credit card enthusiast Joel Schumacher, who would become best known for directing The Lost Boys, Batman Forever, and, well, Batman and Robin. The Wiz was actually the third movie that he had worked on, the previous two being Sparkle and Car Wash, both of which he wrote. When writing the
Hold up. Now, I already knew this because I was in film school for a minute and I learned this, but did y'all know some of the legendary movies that we really enjoy so much was written by this guy, Joel Schumacher? Isn't that something? He wrote Car Wash, that's a classic. He wrote Sparkle, that's a classic. And he wrote The Wiz. He wrote The Wiz, the movie adaptation of it.
Lumet came on board as director.
Check this out.
Lumet has directed many movies during his life, including 12 Angry Men, The Hill, and Child's Play. Nope, not that Child's Play, this one. The script was provided by Bat credit card enthusiast Joel Schumacher, who would become best known for directing The Lost Boys, Batman Forever, and, well, Batman and Robin. The Wiz...
Hold up, and The Lost Boys is one of my favorite teenage love movie, heartthrob movies of the 80s, bro. Like, who didn't like The Lost Boys? He wrote The Lost Boys, y'all. That's dope. Hold up.
So it was a no from him. So director Sidney Lumet came on board as director. Lumet has directed many movies during his life, including 12 Angry Men, The Hill, and Child's Play. Nope, not that Child's Play, this one. Please. The script was provided by Bat credit card enthusiast Joel Schumacher, who would become best known for directing The Lost Boys, Batman Forever, and, well, Batman and Robin. The Wiz was actually the third movie that he had worked on, the previous two being Sparkle and Car Wash, both of which he wrote. When writing the script, Schumacher was inspired by author and lecturer Werner Erhard, who dealt into philosophical teachings of, quote, transform one's ability to experience living so the situation one had been trying to change or had been putting up with clear up just in the process of life itself. Now, I don't quite know entirely what that means, but from what I've read, it meant that the script for The Wiz itself became quite philosophical, with underlying themes of Dorothy discovering who she is and becoming responsible for her life and believing in herself. And Diana Ross was totally on board with this, as she too was a believer in the teachings of Werner Erhard. Apparently, some people weren't happy with Joel Schumacher's script, including the WIZ's producer, Rob Cohen. And yeah, knowing that tidbit of information, it does seem a bit preachy. But nothing could really be done, as Diana Ross loved the script, as she was the driving powerhouse force behind the movie. Number 7. The struggle to get Jackson. When The Wiz went into production, 19-year-old Michael Jackson was a former Motown star, thanks to his family group, the Jackson 5. At the time of The Wiz, Jackson was just about to take his big leap as a solo artist. Both producer Rob Cohen and Berry Gordy felt that Jackson would be great as the Scarecrow. Director Sidney Lumet wasn't as convinced, as he originally wanted actor and comedian Jimmy Walker in the role, who at that time was in a popular TV series called Good Times. Lumet met Jackson and would agree that he was great for the part. However, Jackson's scary dad, Joe, was against the idea, feeling that the movie would get in the way of Michael's efforts with the Jacksons group. However, producer Cohen moved Michael and his sister LaToya into a New York apartment, which gave Michael an escape from his controlling father, so he was no longer under his grip, and finally had a freedom in life that he actually never had before, and thus also had the freedom to work on The Wiz. During this time, Jackson started visiting the famous New York nightclub Studio 54, which as a result left interesting pictures of Jackson partying with celebrities like Elton John and Liza Minnelli, daughter of original Dorothy, Judy Garland. Number 6. Quincy Jones didn't particularly enjoy working on The Wiz. Famed musician, songwriter, and record producer Quincy Jones was hired to be the music and song supervisor for The Wiz. Jones was already considered a master of his craft at the time, having already produced music for many great musical acts, including Frank Sinatra. Jones also worked on new songs that were made for the movie that weren't in the musical, including You Can't Win, the solo song sung by Michael Jackson's Scarecrow character. Jones apparently didn't want to work on the movie, but did it as a favor to the movie's director, Sidney Lumet, and he supposedly wasn't happy while making The Wiz. The only part of working on the movie that he enjoyed was working with Jackson, as he appreciated his talent and professionalism. In fact, it was while working on The Wiz that Jackson asked Jones if he would be interested in producing his solo album that he was working on, to which Jones would go on to produce Off the Wall, Thriller, and Bad. When it comes to the songs in The Wiz, I think everyone praises You Can't Win and Ease On Down the Road, but my favorite song is honestly the Lion song, I'm a Mean Old Lion. It sounds so fun and catchy, and performed with great heart and gusto by Ted Ross, who, in my opinion, does kind of steal the show. Maybe it's because he was in the original stage show and just knew the character inside and out. But either way, just like the 1939 version, my favorite character is still that lovable lion. I love the guy. I would say that I didn't love the character, but I would be Lion. Despite his misgivings for The Wiz, Quincy Jones would actually get nominated for an Academy Award for his musical input in The Wiz. So it couldn't have been all bad.
Oh, no.
I just wanna have fun, clap my hands, turn around.
I love that I still look like myself with Juvederm filler treatment.
Number 5. A movie makeup legend worked on The Wiz. The Wiz for its time was a huge production. Universal Pictures were excited about the project and threw $24 million into the budget, making it the most expensive musical for its time. So the production wanted nothing but the best. And considering that the movie required a lot of makeup effects, none other than makeup effects legend Stan Winston came on board to work on the makeup for The Wiz. Okay, The Wiz was actually one of his earliest films, but he would go on to get acclaim for his makeup effects in movies like the Terminator films, Aliens, Predator, Edward Scissorhands, and of course, Jurassic Park. The makeup effects in The Wiz are very creative and look unique, and in no way copy what was previously seen in other Oz adaptations. However, applying the makeup could be quite grueling and time-consuming. The Scarecrow makeup alone would take 4 hours to apply, and supposedly, rather than take off his makeup and go through the process of reapplying the makeup the next morning, Jackson would go home in his Scarecrow makeup and go to bed still wearing it, and return next morning ready for filming. I guess you can't blame him. Number 4, over 600 dancers were required for one scene. One of the most extravagant scenes in the movie is where Dorothy and her Oz friends visit the Emerald City, which is displayed kind of like a huge 1970s disco, complete with...
Pause. I must brag. Okay, our dance teacher, Mr. Kenny Long, he was a dancer in this movie, The Wiz. Mr. Long, shout out Mr. Long. Yes, Mr. Long was in The Wiz. I don't know what color he was, but I remember him telling us that.
dancers, while Richard Pryor's WIZ character calls out what the colour of the moment is going to be, with all the dancers following his lead, which I always thought was a commentary on fashion, and how we let the higher-ups tell us what is the in thing and what is in vogue, and how we just follow it blindly. But, I don't know, I could be wrong. But either way, it's a standout moment in the movie. For this scene, a staggering 650 dancers were required, as well as 385 crew members. I can only imagine how hectic filming that scene would have been. And that's not mentioning all the costumes that were required, which was an insane 1,200 costumes, in which several New York-based fashion designers were used to help make the costumes. The movie's shoot was just short of 3 months in late 1977 and was filmed around New York in locations including Queens, Coney Island, the World Trade Center, and some of the scenes of Munchkinland was filmed at a New York State Pavilion attraction from a 1964 World Fair, which apparently was in a state of decay at the time. Additional studio scenes took place at the Kaufman Astoria Studios in New York. Number 3, Diana Ross injury. A lot of people criticize Diana Ross's performance as Dorothy, as they say she's too drab, too miserable, too neurotic, and never smiles or seems happy. Some have even claimed that for a star who is well known for looking so glamorous, they made her look really unglamorous in The Wiz. Now, I can understand some of the criticisms about Dorothy being miserable and not as fun. But I guess that's what they were going for. A Dorothy who wasn't a little girl, but a young lady, who hadn't found her happiness or confidence in life, who by the end of the movie learns to believe in herself, aka Joel Schumacher's philosophical take on the script. I guess it's just a different story arc to the one that everyone is used to. But I do think that Ross does a commendable effort with her material, and gives it her best in the role. However, filming wasn't exactly a breeze for her though, as apparently a special effects gone wrong, which involved a flashy bright light, saw the star rush to hospital, and she supposedly nearly went blind. Wow. Well, that's according to her unauthorized biography, Call Her Miss Ross, so who knows. Thankfully, she was okay with no lasting damage, and made a full recovery. But here's something that is sad. As of 2021, Diana Ross is the only main cast member still alive. Wow, that's just depressing. Number 2, live TV version. Something I've noticed that some people say in regards to The Wiz is the movie version isn't very good and the stage show is much better. Well, in 2015, more widespread people got a chance to see a more Broadway stage-accurate version of The Wiz, with a live televised version of the musical. The event was called The WIZ Live and was broadcast on NBC. The irony is, as mentioned, The Wiz was originally envisioned as a TV special.
Pause. Did anybody watch that? I watched that. It was it wasn't bad. It was well put together. It didn't wow me, but it was like, oh, okay. It was like that. And Queen Latifah was the Wiz, I think. And then they had that one where Jill Scott, no, I think that was a dedication to Michael Jackson. I don't know, but I kind of remember it. It was not memorable like that, but it wasn't terrible either. It was entertaining, I guess.
The live show actually takes inspiration from both the stage show and the movie, hence using songs like You Can't Win, which was written specifically for the movie. The live show actually got rave reviews from critics, who felt that it had exceptional singing, dancing, and presentation. The special was viewed by over 11 million viewers and won a Primetime Emmy Award.
Oh, that's cool. At least
Who knows, maybe The Wiz isn't done yet, and we'll get a new movie version, one more faithful to the stage show. Number 1. Commercial failure. The Wiz was released in October 1978 and only made $21 million, not recouping its $24 million budget. And to make matters worse, it was torn apart by critics. Diana Ross in particular was criticized, as many felt that she was just too old for the role of Dorothy, despite the fact that this was meant to be an older Dorothy who was a schoolteacher. Some critics...
See, I told y'all they were really pissed. I remember my mother was pissed. A lot of the black community was just very upset that Diana Ross, they felt like she was being selfish. Like they purposely just wanted a big name like Diana Ross for the movie instead of Stephanie Mills. Like nobody really knew who Stephanie Mills was unless you were really into plays and musicals and stuff. So yeah, it was like, just like how I kind of felt when they put Janet Jackson in Poetic Justice. I did not want her to play Poetic Justice. I did not. And they say they just put her in that role because, of course, she's Janet fucking Jackson. But yeah, I didn't like her acting, talking about smell my punani and all that shit. I didn't like that. You Janet Jackson, damn it. Talking about punani. Fuck out of here. But anyway, let's keep going.
And to make matters worse, it was torn apart by critics. Diana Ross in particular was criticized, as many felt that she was just too old for the role of Dorothy, despite the fact that this was meant to be an older Dorothy who was a schoolteacher. Exactly. Some critics also felt that her performance was cold and unengaging. Many claim that it was The Wiz that sadly put a stop to Ross's movie career. Joel Schumacher's script...
Wait a minute. That's foul. She was dope as Dorothy. I love Diana Ross's Dorothy. Actually, let me sidebar. I'm good for the sidebars. When I lived in Shreveport, Louisiana, Diana Ross came to town. So I took my daughters and we went to go see Diana Ross. And I don't know how I didn't have the best seats, but I don't know. I ran my ass all the way down to the front row and I got to make eye contact. Well, she makes you think you got eye contact. I made eye contact with Miss Diana Ross. And I said, I love you. And that's that. That was so awesome. She was amazing. And I think even right then, she might have been like early 70s, man. This was like 2014, 2015. Yeah. Okay, back to the show.
Was also criticized, along with some of the visuals, with it being described as being too silly for adults and yet too scary for children.
Scary.
Even one of the cast members of the 1939 movie chimed in with their thoughts, as Ray Bolger, who played the Scarecrow in the classic MGM movie, said that The Wiz is overblown and will never reach the universal appeal of the 1939 version. Basically, many felt that although The Wiz worked on stage, it just didn't work on the big screen. And I think that's a shame, as both Universal Pictures and director Sidney Lumet had such high hopes for The Wiz and thought it was going to be a huge success. Lumet in particular was sure he created a unique experience that'll treat audiences to something that they had never seen before. So what went wrong? Well, to be honest, all Oz-related movies seem to do poorly when they get released theatrically, only to get a huge fan base with the passing of time. Yes, it even happened to the 1939 movie, which, when it was released, was a box office disaster. Same with Return to Oz, which was both a financial and critical flop, only to now be a fan favorite, fully appreciated in time.
See, that's what I'm saying. They wasn't feeling The Wizard of Oz when it first came out. They thought that shit was kind of Wizard. And you know what else that came out that year? Gone with the Wind. And my other favorite movie of all times, what's it called? Oh my God, I just played it in class the other day. It's a Wonderful Life. It's a Wonderful Life, The Wizard of Oz, and Gone with the Wind all came out in the same year. And The Wizard of Oz was considered a flizzop at the time. Gorgeous movie. But now what? It's a cult classic that they play, every Easter, right? They played around Easter time, springtime, maybe New Year's. In the Wiz too. I remember when the Wiz first came out. The Eveline scene scared the bejesus out of me, and the monkeys, them flying monkeys, was scary. And that that noise still scares me to this day. So yeah, I would agree. The Wiz was for a 6 year old. It was scary for me. That's true. Um, Great and Powerful Eyes. I've never watched that. I have seen the one with the little girl. It's actually very, very cool. It's a cool movie. If you into that, you know.
Only to get a huge fan base with the passing of time. Yes, it even happened to the 1939 movie, which, when it was released, was a box office disaster. Same with Return to Oz, which was both a financial and critical flop, only to now be a fan favourite, fully appreciated in time. And even Oz the Great and Powerful, which although made some profit, was still trashed when it came out. I wouldn't be surprised if that movie gets more fan appreciation with the passing of time. I think that when an Oz movie comes out, everyone has their ideas of what an Oz movie should be, particularly because everyone has memories of the 1939 movie lingering in their heads, whether consciously or subconsciously, and thus it usually leads to disappointments, especially when new and different approaches are taken that subvert expectations. I think that The Wiz is no exception. It has become more popular and appreciated with the passing of time. I personally love the creativity of the movie and its unique look and feel, and appreciate that it tried something different by giving us an Oz that doesn't look like a magic faraway fairy tale land, but a scary, bleak, parallel version of our own world with lashings of glamour and glitz. So you got to give it credit for its originality, and I find all the performances to be really enjoyable and to have a lot of heart. Now, granted, it's not a perfect movie and does have some issues, and having some changes made would have made it a better movie, particularly with the script and if Diana Ross's performance was more upbeat and less nervous.
Oh my goodness. Really? Okay, well, I mean, she if she was playing her like a real young woman, she would be kind of scared and sad being in some whole weird ass town with these weird ass characters, you know what I'm saying, trying to get back home, you know what I'm saying? So, I don't know if that's a fair assessment. Y'all have to go check out The Wiz for yourself. But I thought she did a good job. I just wish Stephanie Mills would have been able to have played the part. But I love Diana Ross as well. You know what I'm saying? And I did not like Richard Pryor's acting as the Wiz. I would not have had him. He was just hot at the time. I get that, but I don't like it. And you know, people love seeing Diana Ross with Richard Pryor at that time because they had done Lady Sing the Blues and then some other movie, and you know they play well together. But I would not have hired him as the Wiz. No, come on now.
Perfect movie and does have some issues, and having some changes made would have made it a better movie, particularly with the script and if Diana Ross's performance was more upbeat and less nervous, as well as improving the cinematography, and if maybe the movie was shortened and given more of a speedier pace. But despite its flaws, The Wiz is an Oz adventure that I would always go back to and revisit, and get a lot of appreciation out of it. It's another entry in the Oz mythology, which has had different versions and retellings made on film ever since 1910. It may be a different yellow
Up two things. First of all, I never realized those were lips. Hold up, let's go.
retellings made on film
Those are lips. I never knew that.
ever since 1910.
Okay, and then the other part. Remember when I was talking about that sample from Jay Dilla comes from this scene with Lena Horne when she's singing "Believe in Yourself." Woo, yeah, you know that
Perfect
part.
movie and does have some issues, and having some changes made would have made it a better movie, particularly with the script and if Diana Ross's performance was more upbeat and less nervous, as well as improving the cinematography, and if maybe the movie was shortened and given more of a speedier pace. But despite its flaws, The Wiz is an Oz adventure.
That part right there where she goes, that's what that's what I was imitating. Now when you actually go watch the movie, the what I just did or what I did earlier, it will make more sense and it'll be even funnier when you hear her sing, "Believe in yourself." She talks like my grandma, Luberta, rest in peace. She sounds exactly like my grandma. That's why I always love Lena Horne.
that I would always go back to and revisit and get a lot of appreciation out of it. It's another entry in the Oz mythology, which has had different versions and retellings made on film ever since 1910. It may be a different yellow brick road, but I'm glad that that road is there for audiences to ease on down and partake in a truly unique Oz adventure. So that about wraps everything up that I have to say about The Wiz. I like its visuals and for the most part its musical numbers. And I don't care what anyone else says, that lion totally steals the show. Anyway, I'm Minty, and I would end with an ease on down.
All right, thanks, Minty. I appreciate that. He was dope. Definitely go support that guy. He was dope. I appreciate him. Um, Damn. There's way more details and all that, but I just did a little bit of a little something with Minty's help because for those who've never seen The Wiz and now you've seen just a little bit of a background into it, and go check it out. It's a classic. That's what the guy was saying. It's definitely a so-called cult classic. I would say that because I have definitely seen The Wiz more than 200 times. I know I have. I know I have, at least in bits and parts. You know what I'm saying? Throughout the years, you see a lot. It's part of your DNA. So for kids to be like, no, I've never seen it, I was kind of taken aback. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, that's it. I just, wanted to break the whole talking about them same old, same old. I want to talk about something different. I'm gonna come back and literally have to go get. I made some hot wings, so I'm about to go get those, and I'm gonna talk about a little bit about Macaulay Culkin from Home Alone. I saw this funny little clip I want to share with y'all. So that's it. I hope you're having a relaxing holiday week. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you celebrate, and Cash App, PayPal, bam. Click the like. That's free. Absolutely. You could join, become a Tomcat. That's me. I would really appreciate anything you're willing to donate. But if you become a member, boom, you get exclusive stuff that's popping off soon. Anyway, that's it. That's all I have to say. I hope. Oh, December 29th in Los Angeles at Los Globos. I think its doors open at 8 p.m. is the Project Blowed anniversary show, 30th anniversary. So check that out. It's gonna be a whole lot of cool ass performers, and me, I'm performing. So, anyways, that's it. All right, peace.